Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Abby with Abby Reviews, and this is going to be my review for Bridgerton, season 1, episode 5. Yes. Last time we left off, Daphne interrupted the duel, and she told, oh boy, we getting married, so get your life together. Let's see what happens, because I feel like it's going to be a bag of bullshit, but let's go. So we already started out with Foolala. So Daphne rushed back at home and gets into bed just in time for her maid to wake her up, like she been there the whole time. Her mama is hungover, Jesus. Fix it, God. And she was, then Daphne comes and talked to her mother, and she was like, I'm getting married. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. You're going to be a princess. And she's like, no, I'm not going to be a princess. I'm marrying the Duke. And she was like, oh my God, you're marrying for love. And Daphne's like, And she was like, dude, oh God, I can't wait a whole month. Can't we get a special license and do it in a week? And her mom was looking at her like, the fuck? And she was like, well, it's just the Duke and I have passion. She's like, I don't wish to lie to you. She's like, whatever you and the Duke did, that it happens more often than you think. Even me and your daddy had a trouble controlling ourselves before we got married. So now the mother's excited and Daphne looking dumb in the face, and Jesus Christ fix it before she go to fuck off, because I can feel it coming. So Daphne, so the queen finds out that she's marrying the Duke. And so the prince comes over to the house and he talks to her. He's like, I thought we had an understanding. I'm sorry, Miss Reggie. She's like, you didn't misread me. You know, it's just love is the biggest force of all. Blah, 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 blah. He's very kind, very gentle. We love the prince. We stand for him. So he leaves. And so she is supposed to meet the Duke at the promenade so people can see them and all that good stuff and play the game. And he shows up and he drunk and hungover and shit, and she's trying to make the best of the situation. And somebody comes up to them and she's like, oh, y'all are gonna make a great couple. And she was like, absolutely. And you're gonna have a great family. And she goes to grab his hand and he snatches his hand away from her, and the mama is looking crazy and the auntie is like, this motherfucker, child. And now we at the Featherington house, and dressmaker said she ain't giving them they dresses until she get paid for the last couple months worth of work. And he was like, well, they got plenty of dresses, they can just rewear them. Mama is finna go the fuck. She said, well, maybe you can go without your fucking tobacco, you goddamn degenerate. That's what I, let me not put my words into this woman's mouth. Let's continue. Now, Daphne and the Duke are going to have to beg for a special license in front of the queen. And they said, you got to make it believable. We'll see how that goes. Get to the other Bridgerton brother at the house of debauchery. So Daphne and Cressida have a whole confrontation at the dressmakers. Daphne is pretty much trying to seek out what the hell she know and what she actually saw and what kind of damage she can actually do. And she told her, watch your damn self, because right now, at the end of the week, I'll be a duchess and you will be the same, untitled and unmarried. So would you rather be a duchess friend or a duchess enemy, bitch? Choose ye this day. What the fuck you gonna do? And so Cressida, being smart, said, she's like, I'll make a decision if you actually get married, bitch. Until then, bite me. And then, so the prince is like, I'm going back to Prussia. And the queen is like, fight for her. He's a mere duke. You're a much better man than he is. Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I'm not going to do all of that. I guess I can stay or whatever. And so, before we get to Daphne and her, whatever she got going on. So the Bridgerton boy goes to the artist guy's house of debauchery. They seem to be having an orgy. He sees some hooker there. They start kissing. They looking for a room to go have sex in. He opens the door, and there's the artist guy having sex with a man. And he's like, oh my God. And then he closed the door. Then he has a threesome on a couch with him and 2 other girls. Now, I forgot to mention that the king, when she was talking to the prince, they was like, Your Majesty, the king. She's like, is he dead? And he's like, no, he's lucid. And he's awake. And she's like, oh my God. So she he's sitting at the table eating. And she comes to talk to him. And they start talking. And he's asking about the children. And he asks about the daughter, Amelia, and who apparently got sick and died. And he doesn't know it. He's like, she just came to see me a fortnight ago. I think he has dementia or Alzheimer's. Screaming, where's Amelia? Where's my child? What did you do to her? Also, the Duke is drunk on the streets. He got put out the bar for drinking too much and doing the most. Child, it's a mess. Woo, Lord, there's a lot happening. Okay. So the Duke and Daphne told this well the Duke told this incredible love story about him that's his best friend. Daphne is his best friend, and that's what he knew that he wanted when the prince came. He wanted her to be more than his friend. He wanted her to be his wife. And so the queen okayed the special license, and they got married, and we're at their reception. Penelope keeps trying to tell Marina leave Colin alone because she is in love with Colin. Marina can't. Penelope is not voicing that she's in love with him and wants him for herself. And Marina is so concerned about getting married before she gets too far along and knocked up that she not paying that shit no mind. And so Cressida came up to Daphne and was like, it's nice to be a Duchess friend. Hopefully you'll remember the kindness that I repaid you for keeping your secrets. Most enjoyable. So Marina takes Colin into the library to try and get him in a compromising position to propose. But he proposes anyway because he's a good man and he's a gentleman. And he said, we gonna do this right. And we're not gonna mention it today because it's my sister's day, but they got all season to plan. And she's like, oh God. And now she's got the wheels turning how she gonna speed up this time process. Now, Eloise is trying to... She thinks Lady Danbury is Lady Whistledown, and Lady Danbury is like, it ain't me. But when you find out, you let me know. And so the queen overhears her, and she pulls up on Eloise and says, give me what you know about what in your investigation, and what have you learned about Lady Whistledown. And she was like, she's flustered, but then they start talking. Lord Jesus, Eloise gonna get somebody in trouble with her guessing. So Daphne has a little minor panic attack. And so she goes up to her room. She's trying to get herself together. Her mother comes up and try to have the birds and bees talk with her. But she don't really know how to... she don't even know what she talking about. So they have the little conversation. And they're like... the maid comes and says they're bringing the carriages around this time. So that she goes and she hugs all her family goodbye. And talks to her sister, their brothers. And she gets in the carriage. And the Duke is like... well, we'll arrive at the inn for too long. And she's like, the inn? He's like, yeah, the journey to wherever the castle is too long for one full journey. So you got to stay, and the roads aren't good at night. And so we're going to stay at the inn tonight, and then we'll make the rest of the trip in the morning. And she was like, oh, I guess our wedding night is going to be at the inn. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I should have told you. You think, bruh? You think? So they get to the inn, and the innkeeper shows her to her room, and he's like, walks in, and he's like, I requested a separate room to give her privacy. And so she is pacing back and forth for her room. He's pacing back and forth for his room. He comes, as she's going to go see him, she opens the door, and he's there, and they have this conversation about the miscommunication. He was like, I feel like I trapped you. She was like, I know you mad at me because I trapped you into this marriage. And he was like, no, I trapped you because I know you wanted a love match and a family and children. And she was like, yes, and yet. And she was like, I burned for you. And she was like, I burned for you too. And now they started kissing and making out. Now they're going to have sex. Lovely. Okay, that was the end of the episode. This is Netflix. I already started playing the next one, but let's get into my final thoughts. I feel like this was a lot. This was a whole heaping lot of episode. A lot of things happened. We finally got the marriage and consummation. Also, I forgot to mention that the Bridgerton brother who's been going to the house of debauchery rolled up on the dude who owns the house of debauchery, rolled up on him at the wedding reception, was like, hey, I just want to make sure that we are good in the hood. Don't be telling people that I'm having sex with me. And he was like, I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? I didn't see anything. He was like, cool. And then he introduced him to his wife. Sheesh. So many things happening. I really want Penelope to put her foot down and be like, mine. I want him for myself, bitch. Get your own man. But that, I'm sure that'll come before it's maybe in season 2. But that was my recap and review of Bridgerton. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a kid, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.